where I'm stuck at is she was not dignified with a response.
Right.
You can tell in her voice and her pitch and her tone that, look, you told me I had to get out of the house. Where do I go from here? See, I think what people get confused is that when you are poor or you don't have the money and resources that others have, you can't just move to a hotel and stay there for the next 3 weeks.
Right. So on a more serious note, Kyle Rittenhouse was found not guilty on all charges.
Shameful.
We kind of saw what this judge was doing in this case. We heard what the defense said. We heard what Kyle's fake tears looked like. But also we heard what the community wanted to see, and they didn't get justice.
This is Dr. Curry.
This is Kobe Owens.
And welcome to The Source. Kobe, this is a very short week for us because so many things are shut down during the week and we had to do our recording a little bit early. So there are several things we're going to have to touch, and we hope and trust that you all have enjoyed your Thanksgiving. By the time this airs, Thanksgiving would have been over, but I hope and trust that you certainly enjoyed it. Let's start off today by talking about the young lady. There's a video I really want our viewers to see because this lady here in the South Bridge section, I didn't even know anything about it, but I happened to be going through Delaware Online, and I noticed that there's a young lady live on Apple Street. I think it was Apple and Claymont Street. And during that time of the flood, the big flood that happened on October the 29th, yes, she said that something was backed up, that the leaves were backed up, and it ended up flooding her house. And it's just, I just don't understand how she's not getting the help. But before we respond to it, let's just look at it and see what happens.
Let's take a look.
On October the 29th, 2021, we had a bad flood right here, Apple Street in Claymont. My house got hit the worst. There is a drain right there at the corner of my house that's filled up with leaves. When I went to my basement, the water came all the way up to here in the basement, to the top, to the front floor. And I'm just saying, where do I go from here? I'm calling this one, I'm calling that one. Everybody's going to get back to me. But I don't understand, where do I go from here?
Yeah, I really feel for the young lady because I know that it is very difficult to get responses. And she's saying, look, she had to move out of her house. It's a Section 8 house. Where's the housing authority? Where's the mayor's office to be able to give this woman some guidance? If she was in the 8th district, I'm sure they would have given her all kind of guidance. Right.
No, that is something that's been extremely concerning throughout this entire process. Right now, you have a lot of residents who were affected by what happened in Ida with the flooding, and they were not getting the resources they needed, or they didn't qualify for it. Look, no one could have been prepared at the local level, could have been prepared for Mother Nature to do what it did. Right. That is something we cannot control. But what we can do is our response, right? And we've seen a very weak government response to what happened. And there's ton of residents who are still displaced from this, and there's still a ton of residents who still aren't getting the resources they need. Now, when it comes to the drainage system, the city should be responsible to making sure that our drains are cleared away. They know during the summer and the fall time periods, a lot of leaves fall off.
Absolutely.
So making sure they go through and making sure they're cleaning those out regularly, that brings jobs to the city of Wilmington. That brings good paying jobs, right, with a good pension as well too. So if a mayor truly cared about what's going on. He would make sure that's going through regularly to make sure little things like that is being taken care of. So when we do have these disasters, hopefully that would take some pressure off the drainage system so that it doesn't back up the way it did in so many residents' houses.
Yeah, but and where I'm stuck at is she was not dignified with a response.
Right.
You can tell in her voice, in her pitch, in her tone that, look, you told me I had to get out of the house. Where do I go from here? See, I think what people get confused is that when you are poor or you don't have the money and resources that others have, you can't just move to a hotel and stay there for the next 3 weeks.
Right.
You have to be able to go somewhere. And to my understanding, this is a Section 8 home. And where's the housing authority, the Wilmington Housing Authority at in this? But why was she not dignified with a response?
Right.
Why haven't there been some direction on what to do? You're right. We can't, maybe the city doesn't have the money to pay for everything, but there are things we can do, and that is to dignify people with responses.
No, I absolutely agree with you there. And again, this just shows they directed everyone to call 311, a system that has been completely overflooded with calls. And once it's overflooded, you get no response. So whether that's what she's been told or she's reached out to individuals personally on their personal work emails, either way, the city has shown a slow response to this. They have tiptoed around a lot of these issues, and these residents are struggling. And I'm glad that she reached out to the media for help to get her story out there. And I know there's a lot of allies in the community who can help her now that they know she's having such a difficult time getting in touch with those who are supposed to be helping her.
Yeah, and I would like to share with those of you who are watching, and so many of you are watching, and I appreciate that. But for the young lady who is who's affected by this, I don't know your name and I don't know you at all, but please reach out to me. Try to get a way to call me. The church's phone number is 302-652-9114. 302-652-9114. We don't have millions and millions of dollars, but we can help in some kind of way. I'm sure we can find something to help you, and also we can get you access into some areas that maybe you need access in, because who want to be during the holiday displaced? Right. It's just unfair, it's uncivilized, it's unhuman. And I think that we really need a response, and we need to get her some help. So if you give us a call, we're going to do everything in our power to support you. We're going to find a way to give you some help. Again, we're not rich, but the little things we can do to support you during this time is going to be very, very critical.
Yes.
All right, so I want to move on from even that one and go to another. It was another article that was interesting for this week, Kobe. The question was asked, would adding a retired police officer to the Wilmington Citizens Review Board weaken the review board? Interesting. Do you know anything about the review board?
I do. So last year after the June 5th protests, one of the things we asked for were community review boards.
Right.
And there's still a lot of work. We've talked about SB 149 a lot to make sure that they have the power they need for investigatorial, subpoena power, all that, right? So Wilmington, at the end of 2020, they passed the creation of a Wilmington Civilian Review Board that deals with the Wilmington Police.
Right.
That is a huge step. That's great. But we also want to make sure they have power. Now, it is set to start its first meeting and have its formation come to be in 2022, right? So it gave it a year, work any kinks out, give the General Assembly some time. So what we're seeing now is that 9-member board is now, there's members of council looking to expand that to an 11-member board with 2 retired police officers to be placed on that board.
Now, before you go any further, let me just say this to you. How can police when they are the issue?
Right.
We have seen time after time after time that they can't police themselves. We even got legislators who are former police officers and can't even legislate appropriately. I don't understand.
No, I agree with you. And how it's set up right now, right, with the Law Enforcement Bill of Rights in place, is only officers can investigate officers, which means everything has to be done internally. That's an issue because there has been no follow-through when there is wrongdoing. That's why civilians want power. So by pitting them on the review board, that is literally just taking a step back to what it already is.
Absolutely.
So, in good faith compromise, I think what some people would be willing to say is, all right, well, if this is going to push through, make them non-voting members. Make it so that they don't have the decision making on this. It should be rooted around the community. It should give the community the power to oversee what is going on. But in my own opinion, I don't think the former cops should be on it.
Period. Because their influence can also
Correct.
influence votes.
Now, is there mechanisms in other areas, whether it's local, county, or state, in other places that have advisors that come in, so that if there is a question of operation or technical questions like what are officers supposed to do in this situation, they can be advised on that as review board members, but the people who are advising aren't actually on the review board.
Absolutely.
So that's where we're at with that right now. It's an amendment that is being put forth by the administration and by...
When you say the administration, who are you referring to?
Mayor Michael Pazicki.
Okay, this is the city administration.
Right, yes.
All right, just want to make sure my
this
views are
was
clear.
one of his asks, and the finance chair, Chris Johnson, Councilman Johnson, is the sponsor of this resolution. So it has no co-sponsor, so it's really hard to see where everyone is.
Oh, we know where everybody. He's not
Right.
gonna. He's like McConnell. He ain't gonna put nothing out there that ain't gonna get passed.
Right.
And he has his 7 already.
Yeah. So
And we're gonna watch that too. We want to watch that.
we want to watch that closely. The community is going to continue to speak out. Now, there was supposed to be a public safety meeting that was canceled and hasn't been rescheduled just yet. They may just wait until the next month to do it. That this is supposed to be heard, and this is going to be the prime opportunity for the community to get involved since they took away the public speaking portion during the council meeting.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that too. You know, I know we were talking about this whole will a retired cop, weekend, and I say yes without any equivocation. But then I was going to also ask about that speaking piece because many people have come up to me saying, we can't even speak at the city council anymore. Was that a trippy doing, or how did that come about?
No, so that was a part of that rule change
at
the very beginning that opposed Council President Congo's rules.
So this is the 7 rules,
right?
Okay, you got I'm sorry to keep cutting you off. You have 2 city council's rules here, and the ones that stuck together, the pack, they decided that this you should not be heard.
Right.
We've showed you those people, and we'll show you again at some point.
So unlike they do in county council, there is no more speaking on each piece of legislation. Now, other places, it's not just county council. County council, Middletown City Council, the Newark City Council, when each piece of legislation comes up, it's read in, it's open debate among council members, and then they give public comment. Sometimes there's no public comment, sometimes there is. So that you have public input on that bill, so you stay focused on that one bill.
I think that would cause the mayor's stuff not to get passed as much if you got people speaking up and seeing all those African Americans who supposed to be a part of our community. See, they're not hearing anything because nothing is being said, although they may be hearing it behind the scene. That was strategic too. And that needs to be a challenge.
And the former council president Shabazz, even said that. Said that because the public keeps coming and speaking up on these bills, it's delaying the mayor's agenda. This is what she said when they implemented it last go-round when she didn't have the votes to stop it. And actually, here's the thing. It was a lot of bad bills that came up on behalf of the mayor's administration that the community truly didn't want. And after a while, the pressure got to certain members and they wouldn't vote for it. So that's why they didn't want that anymore. So when they had the 7 votes this go-round, they got rid of that rule, unfortunately.
Unbelievable. I keep cutting you off. I don't mean to throw you off.
No. So a part of the current 9 people are going to be appointed to this by the mayor. The mayor already gets appointments to this board. City Council gets appointments to this board. And then civil rights organizations, NAACP, the ACLU, the Urban League, they get appointments to this as well, too, to create the 9. So if the mayor truly believes that he wants to have former cops on it, then use your already appointments you have to put them on there. But you should not make that a standard because another mayor may not want that.
And the purpose of doing a review is so it could be independent.
Correct.
From its thoughts of the group that we're trying to evaluate or
Correct.
try to share some opinion on. Unacceptable.
So, in the Latin American Community Center is the other group who's also gets someone appointed to it. And clergy of the city of Wilmington, they're the other two groups. I apologize for that. So I don't know how they're going to come up with the clergy part of it, because it's a lot of clergy in the city of Wilmington.
I'm sure they'll go to IMAC because that's what they think speaks for the whole black community. So they'll probably use them because whatever. Go ahead.
But again, it just says clergy. It doesn't have to be
Well, that's
a
what I
black
say,
faith
but you
leader.
got to go somewhere, and,
Right.
and who's going to go and find the person, and the most established in in
Okay,
the
yes.
name recognition, it would be IMAC.
Yes.
I'm not saying that should be the best that is the best group to be able to identify a clergy person, but I just said it for that purpose.
So again, that's the current makeup of this. And again, we're still working down in Dover to get more power for it so that it's actually community empowered policing instead of just the community versus the police.
Yeah. Unbelievable. And that one little article is interesting. I was not didn't plan to go into all those different weeds, but it just angers me and it infuriates me when I continue to hear how the mayor strategically have put things in place in order to make sure his will is done.
Yes.
And even though it is hurting our city, there are things that we need done cannot get done because who's gonna voice opinion if it's not available to be able to be voiced.
Right.
And that gives the freedom of the African Americans who are on there to say, you know what, nobody's complaining about, so let's just go ahead and vote in favor of it. But those days are going to come to an end at some point. I want to move on from there because we've run out of time in this segment, and I want to talk about something that was really horrific that happened in Harrington. And you had a husband who was 69 years old, and his wife was 74, I believe it was, and he killed his wife and dog. And then he called the police. Now, I'm always joking about different things, but this is really serious. I mean, what could have happened where he just killed?
Yeah, he killed and then turned himself over. Right now, he's being charged with first-degree murder, possession of a deadly weapon during the commission of a felony, and cruel and unnecessary killing or endangering of an animal. He killed his dog and his wife. That, you have to be going through something to be able to do that and then just regularly call the police and report it. But he is behind bars right now. He turned himself over. But that's just a very concerning situation. Yeah,
and I pray for the family. I don't know if they have children, and I just pray that, they will find peace during this time. And they said there was no incidents, and I guess, I don't know. We never know what's going on, but that's one of the reasons why in policing we also need that mental support too, because we don't know what's going on with people's lives and things of that nature. So we just wanted to report on that just so that you all know this happened up in Harrington last week, and it was very, very horrific. One last piece we want to do in this segment, and it's a very encouraging piece for the city of Wilmington. The East Iron Fair, and I don't want to seem like I'm being a little arrogant, but I am very grateful that our school, 5-Star Center, we produce some giant children. Our 6-year-old baby boy, LJ, Lamar Marshall is his full name. He was just flipping around the Miss Delaware and just flipping around, and she discovered that he had a hidden talent. And he's going to end up being featured in the Nutcracker, and I'm just grateful. Yeah. But before you respond, let's just look at this article real fast.
A ballet company in Delaware is rehearsing for its annual performances of the Nutcracker. And this year, this company will feature a very young, recently discovered diamond-in-the-rough dancer.
He saw ballet on social media and learned how to do it and is now getting formal training. NBC 10 Delaware Bureau reporter Tim Furlong has more from the rehearsal studio.
Fall will soon blow out and the holidays will roll in, which for the Wilmington Ballet means
passe, and then an arabesque there.
It is almost time for the Nutcracker, and this year,
demi-plie and straight.
A 6-year-old named LJ will make his big debut.
Excellent. Keep your head up. Keep your head up.
In September, the reigning Miss Delaware spotted LJ dancing at a community cleanup event. She was so impressed, she recorded his moves.
So I assumed that he had had dance lessons before. So I asked him about it, and he told me he had never had dance lessons, never had a teacher before.
Sophie posted her videos on social media and tagged everyone in the local dance world, and weeks later,
it is really crazy that it happened all so fast.
Yeah, his mom still can't believe it. His proud grandparents can't stop recording video. LJ is now a scholarship student at Wilmington Ballet. Everything he learned to this point, he saw it all on TikTok and YouTube, and he imitated it. On his own, he has become a dancing, contorting, and body-flipping machine.
I watched the video, and then I fell in love with it.
He's a little tough to pin down, even for a TV interview.
I told you I watched the video.
LJ is a little ball of energy and raw talent and potential. The head of Wilmington Ballet says the it that you look for, yeah, this kid has it.
He just loves to move. He loves to dance. And that is the number one thing that you need to be a great dancer. You have to love it.
I want to do it for Infinity Days.
Also pretty cool to see a kid who basically doesn't fit any of the traditional ballet demographics getting his shot.
And to now have someone who literally is from my same neighborhood, who looks like me, I mean, it's a dream. So
will LJ stick with ballet forever? It's hard to tell. He's only 6, but right now,
nice and tall and demi-plie.
He is certainly in the right spot with the right people guiding him and getting ready for his debut in the Nutcracker.
You're being amazing right now.
In Wilmington, Tim Furlong, NBC 10 News.
Oh, LJ, that's awesome.
I am so proud of LJ, his mom and his granddad. They go here and they kept him. He came to us as a baby in our infant room. He graduated just last year out of our program, and we always knew him to be very active, but did not know he had that level of talent.
Yeah, you know, and our current Miss Delaware, Sophie Phillips, she does a lot of work over here, Southbridge, the community garden, working with the neighborhood house, working with the community. Her focus is environmental. So this took place during a community cleanup. And, you know, they found a gym while cleaning up.
Here in Southbridge.
Here in Southbridge. So best of luck to LJ. He received a scholarship from the Wilmington Ballet, and also the role in the Nutcracker. That is huge.
Huge.
So, you know, from a cleanup to the Nutcracker, that's absolutely amazing. And Sophia, she does a lot of work over here, like I said. And she's actually about to go compete on a national level on December the 16th. So we thank her for coming over here, working with the community, and truly being true to who you are.
And I want to say to Sophie, regarding your heart, we appreciate that. In a season, a time where humanity is not looked upon, you were able to look at a child, see the energy the child had, and yet discover the talent that was hidden within him. If you watch the mom, she is over grateful. The grandfather is just, he sent me email after email sharing how proud he is of his grandbaby. Thank you, Sophie, for being a person of heart, a person of love, and a person of care. And we wish you well. And we're praying that you do well in your national competition.
And I remember when she posted the video.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this kid from Wilmington?
Yeah.
So, again, keep doing amazing work. Best of luck, LJ. We're all going to be rooting for you and watching you.
Yeah.
I'm getting vaccinated against COVID-19. Yes, there could be some short-term side effects from the vaccine, but they go away in a day or two. Those are signs that my body's building protection. It's worth it to avoid serious problems from COVID-19.
For prevention of diabetes, the best thing is to make sure you're at a healthy weight. You want to eat healthy foods and really keep seeing your primary care doctor to make sure that you are staying healthy so that they can do routine monitoring of your blood and keeping you accountable for your healthy weight and healthy lifestyle. So a pre-diabetic basically means that a patient their blood sugar is somewhat high. Sometimes it's high, sometimes it's not. It kind of fluctuates between a normal range. A lot of times it depends on what they have eaten. If they've eaten really high sugary foods or high in carbohydrates, their blood sugar will probably likely be a lot higher than, say, a normal person's blood sugar after that meal. But yet it's not so high that it's causing problems yet. Diabetes will affect your kidneys, will affect your heart, whereas pre-diabetes, you might be on the road to that, but not quite there. And that's at pre-diabetes and before is really where we would like to catch our patients. If you are a pre-diabetic, you can definitely change your lifestyle and get out of that category. A lot of times it has to do with just changing your lifestyle, changing your eating habits, and changing your exercise habits, or start exercising. Possibly just losing a few pounds will be enough to get you out of that range of pre-diabetes. There are a few different ways that we can screen for and diagnose diabetes. The most common one is a hemoglobin A1C. This is a blood test that can be performed that will kind of give us an average of what a patient's blood sugar has been doing over a 3 to 4 month time period. We do use it for screening as well. Sometimes we'll see that a patient is borderline or pre-diabetic, and we can start to take more intensive preventative actions to help prevent that patient from going on to become diabetic. Risk factors for diabetes would include if you have a family history of diabetes. Also, if you are overweight, you are more likely to become diabetic. If you have a poor diet, if you eat high sugary foods or high carbohydrate foods, you're going to be more likely to become diabetic as well. Other risk factors for diabetes, Hispanic is definitely a race factor that you are more predisposed to diabetes, as well as being a Pacific Islander or Native Alaskan. They are also at higher risk for diabetes, as well as Native American.
And we're back. You know, I am a native of Philadelphia, and this national news really disturbs me, and it hurt really bad in that a young lady, 32 years old, coming back from her baby shower, taking gifts out of the car from the baby shower, and she is viciously shot in the head and in the stomach. Baby dies as well as she. It was just horrific. It's just unbelievable. And before we get started, let's just look at the reporting on this, and we're going to come right back.
This woman was 7 months pregnant when she was shot and killed. Her unborn child also did not make it. City officials are calling this a heinous crime and are now offering a $50,000 reward to anyone who can help police find whoever's responsible.
It's senseless. It's really senseless.
It's honestly sad.
It's crazy.
Tonight, police sources have identified the 32-year-old victim as Jessica Covington. They say not only was she shot in the head and stomach here on Palmetto Street, steps away from her own home, she was 7 months pregnant, and her unborn child also died.
I heard like 9 shots. Boom, 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 boom.
Neighbors say Covington, the soon-to-be mother, had just returned home from her baby shower, unloading gifts from her car when someone shot her. A targeted attack, according to police.
I didn't even know she was pregnant.
Wow.
And so I started laying there.
Wow.
And I'll never forget that. It's just horrific what happened. This is a horrific murder. And I hope, someone finds whoever did this.
To entice someone to come forward, police are now offering a $50,000 reward for information, leading to an arrest. In Longcrest, Stephen Fisher, NBC 10 News.
What demonically demented individual would dare do such a thing?
Right.
I pray that they find this vicious person and bring them to justice. But this woman was taking the gifts from her car from her baby shower.
Mm-hmm.
And this was done to her.
Which is supposed to be such a happy time, right?
Yeah.
You get to see all your friends, your family, there to celebrate you, the new life you're bringing into this world. And not even hours later, to no longer be here with us. So first off, my heart goes out to the family
Yes.
of this young lady and to
Jessica.
this child.
Her name is Jessica
Jessica,
Covington.
yes.
Yes.
But also looking at this, it's quite concerning when you look at the spike of gun violence, right? Now, is every situation going to be able to be controlled? No. But it takes a certain individual to see someone who is carrying a child, right, who is pregnant, to say, not only am I going to shoot and kill them, I'm also going to shoot at the stomach. That is a targeted attack.
It is.
And honestly, it's very, very concerning that no one has spoken out about this. They said that there was individuals on the street. They put out a $50,000 reward. And I know this is something that almost every council member and the mayor are talking about right now. They want to find whoever did this, and they want to find them fast.
Yeah, they do. And I want to give credit to even the community activists who shared that they're going to do some things with the mayor to help build the morale to get rid of some of the violence on the street. And that's one of the things that I say to the mayor, instead of having grudges, you know, we need to come together and figure out how we're going to strategically plan out. This was horrific. It was horrible. But out of it, we can then plan so that it won't happen again. We won't hide. They're not hiding. The community is speaking up. The mayor is speaking up. The city council, even the police chief. People want to catch this brother, but they also want to curb the crime so that they won't have to continue to be in this cycle.
Exactly. And you know, that's what we need to start doing here as well too. But you know, I hope that they find them, find whoever did this, and hold them accountable for their actions.
Yeah, I really do believe it was probably someone who knew her very well. It was a very passionate, vicious attack, because the way they shot the head and the stomach, to say they had to know who it was, but whoever it was demonically demented person, and it needs to be dealt with. We're going to be right back.
Before the YMCA's diabetes prevention program, I would drink about 2 liters of soda a day.
Before I found out I was pre-diabetic, I would just eat everything that came across my plate.
I had very high blood pressure at one point. I had high cholesterol. I tended to work a little too much and to eat late at night when I got home.
Trying to fit in a healthy lifestyle has been a real struggle to me. I realise that work is important, but I'm important too.
Very often we hear so much about, oh, well, only black people get diabetes, or only Latino people get diabetes, or only Asian people get diabetes, depending on the community you're in. Everyone gets diabetes.
With 26 million Americans diagnosed with diabetes, there's no denying the magnitude of the problem and the impact this places on our patients, their families, and the burden on the healthcare system as a whole. We expect the number of diabetics to double within the next 25 years. Diabetes can lead to some catastrophic complications, including blindness, heart attacks, strokes, and kidney failure.
Certainly, there are things that can increase your risk. If you have someone in your family who's a first-degree relative, a mom, a dad, a sibling, anyone who's had gestational diabetes in the past or has had a baby that weighs more than 9 pounds, all these things can increase your personal risk of developing type 2 diabetes. Right now, many physicians are using the hemoglobin A1C as a simple blood test to tell us whether or not someone has diabetes or prediabetes.
The hemoglobin A1C gives us a motion picture of what your sugar has been over the last 8 to 12 weeks and an average of that.
If your A1C ranges between 5.7 to 6.4, that tells us that you may be at risk of having prediabetes.
I thought my health was pretty good, but then I went to the doctor, I did my physical, and that's when he told me that I was pre-diabetic. I thought it was a death sentence.
Often when they find out they have prediabetes, they're really devastated because it may even seem that they're destined to become diabetic themselves. That is not true. When I meet someone who has prediabetes, I get really excited because this is an opportunity to really change the course of their health.
The doctor explained this would be an opportunity for me to not just delay the onset of diabetes, but perhaps even prevent it.
In 2002, it was published in the New England Journal of Medicine that, in fact, you can prevent or delay the onset of type 2 diabetes through a lifestyle program.
The YMCA's Diabetes Prevention Program is a year-long program consisting of 16 core classes, meeting 1 hour once a week with a group and a qualified health coach.
Once the 16-week cycle is over, once a month thereafter, the group comes together for reinforcement education.
We're going to move into how to really work on taking in less fat.
The two main goals of the program that we work on through the course of the 16 weeks is to lose 7% of their starting weight and to increase their physical activity to a minimum of 150 minutes per week. Every week when they come in, the first thing that we do is we take their weight. Their weight is not shared unless they choose to share their weight.
I was really excited because I reached my goal weight first.
If you can get your trackers out.
When we go to the sessions, we track our food intake every day, we track our physical activity every day, and we hand this into the lifestyle coach, and she comes back to us and gives us hints on how we can improve.
Little tips like if you're ordering salad, order the dressing on the side. When you order a meal, cut it in half immediately to take half of it home.
Does anybody remember what pattern eating meant? Watching the type of food you take in is going to also make a difference in the calories and the fat. We look at the food labels, which is a very good source of information.
The calories is 10 and the total fat is 0.
That's a good snack. That's a good snack.
The camaraderie that develops is very nice because the research does show that individuals that engage in group care tend to have better outcomes.
Looks like a lot in that plate.
Now look at that. When they come into this group-based format, they seem to bond with the other people in the group. And I think it's important for people to see that they're not in it by themselves.
As a team, we've developed together. We've learned together. We make choices together.
Because you don't go to the buffet all the time.
I needed other people with me to see that other people are going through the same problem as me.
That's good, guys.
After the Core 16 classes are done, you'll continue to meet monthly with a health coach in your class to keep you on the right track to better health.
Working on that.
The YMCA Diabetes Prevention Program is the best possible option for patients.
This program is what we've been waiting for.
I encourage individuals here and my own patients to participate in the YMCA's Diabetes Prevention Program.
You're making a positive change in your life. You're taking control of your future. You're learning about something that can help change your destiny.
It's really improved my clarity of thinking. It's made me much more self-aware and more self-confident that I can actually stay on this particular program of Change for Life.
The program hasn't been a diet for me, it's been a lifestyle adjustment. It made me feel better, it made me feel healthier, it made me feel stronger.
You can take control. The YMCA's Diabetes Prevention Program really said to me, stop making excuses, do it now.
I feel really good about myself and I'm not scared anymore. I know I could beat this, I did beat it. It has changed my life and it will change yours.
As a healthcare provider, what's important for me is that it works. And you can't beat that, an institution you trust in a program that works.
I'm Ivan Thomas, the Executive Director of the DETV Foundation. And as you have seen for the last year and a half, we've been making some amazing strides in the city of Wilmington and the state of Delaware by our public access television station. The programs that we've been creating with your help, such as Good Morning Wilmington, The Chef Dana Cooking Show, One-on-One with Ivan Thomas, and Homeschool, a segment that comes from DETV Kids. We at DETV work hard to educate, update, and empower the community. We ask you to continue helping by making a gift to support our work because at DETV, we work for you. Please visit our website today at detvch.com and in the top right, hit the donate button and give a gift. Any size would be helpful. Thank you so much for your support. And remember, Public Access TV is information and resources that everyone in Delaware can use.
This was made possible in part by viewers just like you. Thank you for your amazing support. For more of our content, please make sure to visit our website at detvch.com.
And we're back normally, and we have shared with you that we will be doing this quiet storm. We are preparing to do several things, and we want to make sure that we do things strategically and in order. We don't want to be accused of being loose. So one of the things that we're supposed to do today is to finish up the mayor's report card by dealing with community policing as well as safety, public safety. But all of the information was not able to get to me by the time of the airing of this, or shall I say the taping of this show. So I do not want to, and Kobe certainly supports this, ever present information that is not factual, so that we can then be looked upon for unfactual information as opposed to all the facts that we try to give out. We want this to be reliable news source, so we were not able to get all the information we needed to get in order to effectively and appropriately evaluate the mayor as it relates to our public safety. We're also going to have Jay Street back with us, and he's going to help us in this area as well. I do want to say to you all while we're in this segment, while we don't have any information to report on the quiet storm for today, I am searching for some civil rights attorneys or people in the state of Delaware who practice Delaware law and they understand certain things. A lot of our people are suffering. There is no one here to really give them a voice. They are working on jobs. I get calls day after day. They're working on jobs that they're being discriminated against. We have people who are saying basically like Donald Trump do, put it in court, who cares? And they are being treated wrong. We've been promised a whole lot by the city, especially with this whole waterfront situation. What do you call that place down here? The
Waterfront East?
I mean, where the ships come in at?
The port.
The port. There have been many promises about the port, and it did not come to fruition. We need some legal people to assist us. So if by some chance you need, you have some promo work that you can do, we need your help. We need help because as we are looking at different issues, as we are planning, we're noticing that the legal aspect is where they will always beat us. So we need the help. So if you know someone who's willing to give a couple hours to help us out, we would truly appreciate this. Call us here at the church, 302-652-9114, and we would love to have you because your people are in need of counsel, of help, of support. We won't overburden you, but we do want to try to get some help. I'm from Philadelphia, and we have so many. Our Philadelphia Black clergy, which I am a member of, when they speak with power and authority because they know that they have enough legal background or backing to be able to get done what needs to be done. But here in Delaware, it's like, okay, they'll get tired of protesting, they'll get tired of this, they'll get tired of that, and they'll move on. We're not. I'm not from that breed. I'm going to continue to bite at this until we start bringing some people out of the offices that they are sitting in and not doing what they need to be doing. Kobe, I'm sorry for taking so much of your time today, but we didn't get a chance to do the silent storm, but I did want to put that call out there so that we can find out some legal support. Because right now, it's a lot of people in the state of Delaware, especially in the city of Wilmington, who are suffering because they have no legal representation, and the people who are in positions to help them won't help them because they got to keep their political standing right.
Right.
And that's including the preachers. I want to make sure I'm clear, and I'm not afraid of any person or persons. Let's move now to my favorite part of the show as we are coming to a close, and let's talk a little bit about Kobe's Corner. What's on your mind?
Yeah, so major news for President Biden's economic agenda was his spending bill, the Build Back Better Act, passed the House as the first leg through reconciliation. Which is huge, right? So it passed 220 to 213 with one Democrat, Jared Golden, voted no.
What's his problem?
He believes it's too much money being spent. So it's almost a $2 trillion package. It's like 1.2, 1.5, something like that. But the priorities of it is huge, especially for minority communities. Free preschool for 3- and 4-year-olds, to get them in education centers earlier, to get them on the right track earlier, looking at capping certain drug costs, looking to boost the Pell Grants for college tuitions, expanding family leave and providing new benefits for cares for seniors that include hearing, which is a huge aspect of it, addressing climate change, initiative programs to really address climate change, which includes electrifying over 165,000 U.S. Postal Service trucks and creating a civilian climate corps that will And also it will increase corporate taxes on these big companies who make all this money, but their workers are the ones who are suffering every day. Make sure they're paying their fair share. But it also beefs up the IRS enforcement. So make sure you're filing your taxes right. If you got a PPP loan, make sure you have all your ducks in a row, because they will be coming for you with that. Next, you know, people talk about all the time what is going on with the rising gas prices. So President Biden announced earlier this week that he will be releasing 50 million barrels of oil in our Strategic Petroleum Reserve, which is to help bring down the prices, which is going to be a huge impact. Getting around in an SUV and in a minivan has been hurting my pockets lately.
I'm with you.
You know, that the $20 don't go as far as it used to. So I used to be able to get around pretty good. So now everything's Zoom again for me. But that is a good step to bring down these prices. Again, we're still in a backlog with everything that's changed. We're exporting and importing right now, especially as we're working our way back out of this pandemic. Also, last week, Vice President Kamala Harris became President Harris for 85 minutes while President Biden underwent a colonoscopy, and he was they had to use anesthesia on him. So because he was not in full control, he transferred the powers over to her. This is a very similar process that Bush did when he was in an office, and also Clinton did when he was in office. But this makes her the first African-American woman and the first woman to hold these powers. So I know a lot of people were happy, and the AKs put out a huge statement about it as well, too.
Yeah, but while you were there with Kamala Harris, I wanted to just jump in. I had heard that the Biden administration was a little upset because she, well, you know what? Maybe I should wait, because you're gonna deal with Kyle later on.
Yes,
so
actually, that's my next point.
I'll hold off until
right.
then.
So on a more serious note, Kyle Rittenhouse was found not guilty on all charges.
Shameful.
Which is, you know, something we're not shocked by, but we're disappointed in. So one, you heard. We kind of saw what this judge was doing in this case. We heard what the defense said. We heard what Kyle's fake tears looked like. But also we heard what the community wanted to see, and they didn't get justice. Let's not forget that this all came from protests of Jacob Blake being shot 7 times in the back, and Jacob lived. Now you have white nationalists are cheering because now they think they can also take guns to protest and shoot anyone they deem as violent. Not the law, but them. You had 3 sitting members of Congress offer Kyle Rittenhouse an internship. I
did see that.
In their offices. So this is where we're going right now. He's a symbol of white nationalism and racism in America right now. And he's going to have a long career making money off of this. He's going to be doing speaking gigs already. He had a sit-down interview with Tucker Carlson when he said the line, "Oh no, people think I'm a racist, but I support Black Lives Matter." No, you don't.
You know, that's really interesting, and I'm really shocked that Fox News even paid the level of money they paid to get exclusive rights to his story. It's just that you're absolutely correct. You read that right. It is he become the symbol of what racism is in America. Unbelievable.
And, you know, and this was also the same day that Biden had his colonoscopy. So as he's returning to the White House, this was the first question he was asked. What is your thoughts on the Rittenhouse case? And he said, you know, he understands where everyone feels, but the jury has spoken, and we have to go by them. If he's innocent, he's innocent. And then he followed up saying, don't go out, loot, don't go riot, all this other stuff. Immediately turning it to protesters, saying that, oh, well, if y'all going to do something bad, don't do it. But yet you didn't say that to Kyle Rittenhouse.
Absolutely.
You had the Vice President, Harris, come out and say that this just shows that our system is broken, that someone can be protected like this, right? And this isn't new. Kyle Rittenhouse is the 2021 version of George Zimmerman.
Basically.
So this is nothing new. And for her to speak to the system needs to be changed and him to say, well, the system worked, is a huge contrast. And that's what led to everyone's having this discussion or they not agreeing with each other.
Well, let me just say this to you. Biden understands politics strong. He has been very good with African Americans, the black and brown community, and I don't want to ever discount that. However, there's a time when a line has to be crossed. We do respect the jury's decision, but we also can acknowledge the fact when the jury just got it wrong.
Right.
Okay? Now, there were some laws on the books that really gave him a right to do what he does. That's why we need to make sure we get in and understand the laws of the city, the state that we are in. Because what happens is some of the things he did, it was legal, but it was wrong. And that's what I needed to hear from my president. I didn't need to hear a blanket, hey, the jury has spoken, we agree. And don't go rioting.
Right.
I needed to hear detail, yes, the jury has spoken. Yes, there's some laws that need to be changed, but the only way we can really get these laws changed is that we get actively involved in the process, and those kind of things are the kind of way we need to do it instead of these political blankets. I think Harrison was correct in how she responded.
Yeah.
I really
and my last point here is police have identified the driver who plowed into a Christmas parade, leaving 5 people dead and 48 other people injured. He drove his SUV. His name is Darrell Brooks Jr., 39 years old. He drew his SUV. Drove, yes.
That's all right.
Through the crowd. And, you know, he had a previous record of domestic violence and disturbances. He actually had just been released 2 weeks earlier, and apparently he had a dispute right before he decided to drive through this crowd. But we have a video, so if you want to take a look.
This morning, police are working on investigating why this happened. They still have a lot of the downtown historic core closed off this morning as they investigate. We are over by Main Street where the parade route was. We're standing about 3 blocks west of where the red SUV initially hit the first group of people. We can see police markings on the ground, people's belongings still strewn across the street. We're going to show you some video of what happened, but just a warning to our viewers that this can be very disturbing to watch. A Christmas parade in Waukesha, Wisconsin turned deadly after an SUV plowed into the crowd Sunday afternoon.
There's a car going westbound, pushing freight cars on a red on escape.
Watch from another angle as the red vehicle speeds down the street, barely missing a child wearing a pink coat.
There were a lot of screams, and we almost thought maybe it was Santa, but it was a red SUV, and it hit a lot of people.
This disturbing video shows the incident from above and the chaos after the car sped into the parade route, mowing down performers and onlookers.
I saw, maybe 3 people right in front of me get hit. I saw people right away run to the people that were hit and start doing CPR. And I saw people on the ground. There's blood. It was really bad.
Angela O'Boyle tells me she just started watching the parade when she filmed this video from her apartment balcony.
The next thing I heard were screams and turned my head and saw the car come and plow into the band that was just past my balcony at that point. It hit at least 2 people right away, rolled over both of them, and then continued down the road.
In the city's live stream, you can see a marching band playing. The red SUV then barrels down the street. Moments later, the video shows a police officer chasing after the vehicle.
We have multiple casualties. We got about 10 to 15 people down in the street.
According to the city of Waukesha, at least 5 people are dead and over 40 injured.
The vehicle struck more than 20 individuals. Some of the individuals were children, and there were some fatalities as a result of this incident.
At least 28 of those hurt were treated at local area hospitals.
We do not have any specifics on the injuries at this time. All of the patients were transported.
Authorities are investigating the event this morning.
We're no longer looking for a suspect vehicle. We do have a person of interest in custody at the moment, but this is still a very fluid investigation.
The FBI is aware of the incident, and President Joe Biden has been briefed on the situation. Meanwhile, in Waukesha, the community is stunned and shaken by how the celebration turned into a tragedy.
I'm deeply saddened to know that so many in our community
went to a parade, but ended up dealing with injury and heartache.
So again, we pray for the 5 who are no longer with us, the youngest being 52, and the oldest being 81 who passed away. And then also we hope for a speedy recovery for the other 48 injured in this incident. So again, please be careful as we continue to do holiday events and continue to have things outside. Just be aware of your surroundings and what's going on.
Yeah, well, you know, I had an opportunity, you ain't going to believe this, but I had an opportunity this week to run with my daughter. She's a student at Red Lion Academy. We was running for the 5K race, and I saw many of my members saying, Pastor Curry, what you doing here? Like, you know, you're an old man, you got no business doing it. But I really bring that to the front because I spend a lot of time with my daughter, and I try to be the young father, even though I'm an older brother. But one of the things I did do is, while she was running with me, I kept her on the inside and I stayed on the outside. I was very cognizant of my surroundings because people are just not nice.
Yep.
And I'm always thinking, and my wife sometimes will say to me, you know, baby, you don't need to think that way. But you have to. Yeah. Because everyone that was in that parade, they did not think that a person would be set off to a place where they would just drive through and viciously do what he did. And he just come out of jail for some violent issues. What kind of treatments? Our justice system has to be revamped.
Right.
What happened while he was there to get him reformed? And when he came home, I just don't understand. We can report on this stuff, but I'm still stuck on how the system is not serving people.
Yeah, no, you know, this is something we talk about all the time with our justice system, right? It's very punitive, where it should look to see how we can rehabilitate people, so that when they are released, one, they stay out, right, and become active members of the community, not to create this prison industrial complex where a bunch of people make money off of it. Now, luckily, Delaware has no private prisons, but we still have one of the highest recidivism rates in the entire nation. I believe we're number 6.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Well, Kobe, listen, it's just interesting that we constantly report on these different issues and topics across the country. Our system is broken.
Yes.
And we just have to confront that, but we will not give up. We will not surrender. We will continue chipping at it, and at some point we will see a difference. Sam Cooke said I knew a time would bring about a change or something. I forgot the exact language of it. But let me just say this to all of you as we get ready to sign off for this week. Again, we hope that you had a wonderful and outstanding and safe Thanksgiving. I do want to remind everyone that if you saw my Coffee with Curry, I talked about diabetes. And it's very, very important that you know that the month of November is Diabetes Awareness Month. And I'm very keen on making sure we are highlighting it, because in the Black and brown community, that's where it's affected the most. And we want to make sure that you know that if you find that you have diabetes, whether it's type 1 or 2 or even pre-diabetic, it's important that you get checked regularly. It's important that you get a doctor. Please do not use the MedExpress as your primary physician. Have a doctor. Get your blood sugar count checked so that you will be able to live a long, strong, and productive life. It's important. You have a lot to live for. You need to make sure you live in life. Kobe, that's all I have for today. Is there anything else you have on the table for today?
No, it's not. Hopefully you enjoyed this time with family. Continue to be safe. And continue to be aware of your surroundings, and also be aware that we're still in a pandemic. So make sure you get tested if you were around a bunch of family members.
Yeah, and I thought, Kobe, you was going to say that you were very, very happy today, because you'd have said to us about 3 or 4 times that Thanksgiving is your favorite
holiday. I'll be around to pick up my plates. I know the leftovers are a little better than the first day. So
okay, all right.
We have one or two more nights left of leftovers, so I'll be over.
He makes Thanksgiving a whole week. And we are very grateful for you, Jay. We look forward to seeing you all next week as we continue on with our report card. To all of you who continue to watch us and share your comments and your concerns, as well as your praises, we appreciate you. This is Dr. Curry.
This is Kobe Owens.
Until the next time, God bless.
Take care, y'all.